I'm Hiba Elias.
And I'm Chevon Drew.
And welcome to Momentum, a Race Forward podcast, where we explore how racial justice work
is showing up everywhere around us. Hey, Hiba.
Hi, Chevon.
How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm well.
You look flawless, as always.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. I really like your leather jacket, the moto jacket.
I mean, I do this, like I said before, I do this for you. I knew we were coming in to record today.
But how are we coordinated? It's really weird.
All black.
Like, I have a moto look going on, but it's like if moto was like a corporate type of bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a motorcycle person, and then I go to the office and get a lot of stuff done.
You look great, though.
You like
all
it?
Black, just like a native New Yorker.
Right? Is your leather real?
No, girl.
Okay.
Do you know how much real leathers go for?
Okay, thank you. So
what's on your mind?
We got a lot of feedback from our introductory episode.
I saw.
Did you see any feedback that you want to share?
Of course. So first off, I would say that one of our coworkers titled or noted that she felt like she was in the living room with us, having an honest, flowing conversation. And to me, that felt great because I feel like all podcasts should give you that feel. Good. What about you?
I saw similar feedback. People said they felt energized by it. I definitely heard from someone who said, I don't usually listen to podcasts as much, but this one drew me in and I felt like I learned something, but I was also like enjoying kind of laughing along with y'all just for the intro. So I really appreciated that. And some people were saying they identified with some of what we were talking about. So I felt good about the reception as well. Yeah.
It was warm.
So let's high five and get on into
it. High five. Let's do it. Chevon.
Hiba.
There's some pressing things that's taking place.
Yes. I don't know
in the comedy world.
Yes. Okay. I did see that the director of the Joker film, which is doing really well right now across the country, Todd Phillips, he said that he moved on to making a film like the Joker because he didn't think that woke culture would allow him to make the kinds of comedy films that he wanted to continue to make. And I was thinking about this and I think I've heard other comedians say things that are somewhat similar. It may be in a different context in terms of the type of art, like whether it's stand-up versus a film or, you know, a special or... But I wondered what you thought about this because it's kind of a thread and a theme that I see in the comedy world.
For sure. Many comedians feel as though we're in a sensitive space right now. Any type of joke that they may say, it may be offensive to someone. So it's like, what jokes can I tell? What jokes can't I tell? A prime example is Dave Chappelle. And he has just recently released many Netflix series where he took a stance in expressing exactly what it is he felt, and many have not approved. And one of the quotes that he actually expressed was, I don't think people should pay money to see a guy speak precisely and carefully or be worried about the repercussions of what they say. So in a sense, it's like we have comedians who don't care what the public may say about their jokes. And then on the other hand, we have comedians that do care. For example, Todd Phillips is one. He's afraid of the backlash that he may receive for any sensitive joke told. But my question is, can you be a comedian and not be offensive? I think it's very possible. You can be a comedian. You can tell thousands and thousands of jokes and not be offensive to anyone that is listening in or attending your comedy show.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, the Joker controversy, it's on the heels of something that happened with SNL, Saturday Night Live. They hired, I believe, their first Asian cast member, not writer, but cast member.
Yes.
And that same week, they also announced that they were hiring Shane Gillis as well. And during the next few days, there was a clip that made its way around social media.
From his 2018 podcast.
Right. So he was chatting with a friend on a podcast. It seems pretty,
organic conversation,
type
right?
of organic convo. And he spoke about being in Chinatown and trying to order from, the menu and feeling like
not being able to communicate with the waitress or the waiter.
Right.
But he did it in a disrespectful manner.
I didn't think it was very respectful myself when I saw it. It was, I think he was trying to imitate what he thought this woman sounded like. And then he moved from that quickly into describing his confusion about like why Chinatowns even exist,
or its structure and its build, its infrastructure.
I think it was something like, why are they even here? What did they just build one ugly building and then just kept on going? You know
How
what I
is
mean?
that funny?
It was just, and a lot of like trying to almost demean like the existence of Chinatowns, while at the same time, what stood out for me is this idea of consuming.
Exactly.
You're in Chinatown consuming Chinese food while making fun of the person serving it to you because they don't speak the way you speak.
On the head, or the head
so you
on the
want to
nail.
consume their culture, right? But you don't want them to be here. I feel like we're familiar with this as people who live, and move within hip hop culture as well.
Sure.
This idea of consuming and hating at the same time on a people. That's how it came across to me. It really didn't seem funny at all. I didn't laugh at all. I was actually, my mouth fell open.
Not one chuckle came out of my body. So my question to you is, was SNL right for letting him go? In your opinion?
I didn't go online and say, get that man back his job. That's all I'm going to say. Because I was like, please, I've been in situations where white people have said to Asian people in my presence, like, oh, like really, really racist stereotypes that I'm not sure if they're aware where they get those from, about what they eat or who they are. But some of those, if you look it up, some of those stereotypes were literally created by white colonizers to scare people from engaging with Chinese immigrants in this country early on, from patronizing their businesses. And frankly, I think what would have been funny is to maybe talk about, like, why don't you break on the colonizers who actually made it so that people have to move and only be in Chinatown
the entire narrative
back in the day?
It's so simple. So when comedians sit here and say, or for example, Todd Phillips, it's hard for me to come up with a comedy film because what does he say? The woke culture has taken over. To me, it's like, it's very so possible. You can change the narrative and have us laugh.
Didn't he make Old School?
He did.
I cracked up at that movie.
I was crying. Legit tears coming out of my eyes.
So I'm not sure, I'm not going to hate on the Joker. I haven't seen it yet. I'm just saying this sounds like a thin kind of defense for not wanting to step up and step forward with the rest of us.
And hold himself accountable alongside his other comedic friends.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's an opportunity, I think, for comedians
to acknowledge.
You're probably always going to offend someone. And frankly, if you offend someone, so what? Like, we have a right to say that we don't like it and we don't want to buy it. And I think Dave Chappelle was a great example.
Exactly.
He still sold out his shows, right?
He won a Grammy, girl.
Okay.
He has won a Grammy for his Netflix series. So,
yeah, I think he even spends time writing in response to those who are on social media.
People do take time out to mail him letters of what they find unacceptable in his skits. So,
and then he responds with his skit the next time. So I don't think anyone's stopping anyone from creating. I don't want to make it seem like people shouldn't be free to create, but examining the history of this country in terms of race and colonization, I think it opens up the door for a lot of humor that would be fresh.
A lot of content
that has never been discussed.
Okay.
Because really, why is there a Chinatown? Why is there?
Hire us. We'll write your next skits for you. How about that one?
I'm not sure about that. You sometimes you be line stepping and, you know what I'm saying? Let's move on.
Facing Race is coming to North Carolina in November of 2020. Are you ready for the largest multiracial, intergenerational conference of organizers, creatives, and movement makers? Facing Race is a unique collaborative space for racial justice that you can bring to life by becoming a sponsor. You'll help us to present over 90 breakout sessions, host 2 dynamic keynote presentations, fund the Race Flicks Film Festival, showcase local art, and provide childcare for our attendees and much more. Receive perks such as full registration, vending opportunities, prominent logo and ad placements across all our platforms. Ready to help us make history? Contact us today to secure your sponsorship for Facing Race 2020.
And we're back. This time we have a special guest.
Ow.
We have our lovely coworker / colleague / sister / all the things.
Yes.
Yirssi.
Hi. How are you guys doing today?
Welcome, Yirssi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a Monday, so slow to the take, but it's a good day.
Good.
How about you guys? How are you guys doing?
It's going. We're at the end of the day. Thank you, God.
Yes, and I feel like we're all coordinated now. I like the black. It's popping off.
It's a New York thing.
Combined with the melanin.
Yes, drop by with the melanin. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for gracing us
it.
with this. Yirssi, what is your work about at Race Forward?
First, give us your title before you even give us a
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hiba.
scope of your work.
So I'm a research associate here at Race Forward. And so basically I assist with research in numerous different projects throughout the organization. But my main project is one called Shattered Families, and it's about family separation and reunification.
Amazing. Do you want to give us a little insight on what exactly the Shattered Families program is about?
Definitely. So Shattered Families is a project that began in 2011, 2010, 2011. And in 2011, we released a report naming that there were 5,100 children in foster care whose parents had been detained or deported. And the only reason why these children were in foster care was because their parents were detained or deported. It estimated that within the next 5 years, another 1,500 children would also end up in the foster care system. So the parents often have trouble following the rules to get their children back because they're either in a detention center where they don't have access to being able to call in and so on and so forth, or they don't even know that they are supposed to call in for these hearings because welfare agencies are not letting them know what's happening to their children, or they are outside of the country already, and so they obviously can't come back into the country to go into hearings or to do whatever is mandated by the judge in order to get their children back. When this happens, oftentimes the parents lose their parental rights and the children are then put up for adoption. And so it's obviously very serious. And in 2018, Race Forward decided to revamp this project. And the way that we've gone about it is that there is a transnational task force in Arizona that has created a toolkit. The task force is comprised of judges, lawyers, DCS, welfare advocates, and so on. And the toolkit is aimed at people in those professions and in the consulates to get a better understanding of what steps they should be taking to ensure that families are actually being reunited.
That's amazing work.
Currently, our project is to try to determine which of those rules work best in order to hopefully push it to become a national conversation.
This is huge.
That's major.
How did you come to this type of work? Do you want to tell us how you came to either this type of research work or Race Forward overall as a racial justice org?
So I've been in social justice work for basically a decade at this point, but it's something that I was very clear that mattered to me when I was a child because I'm a two-time immigrant. I was born in Dominican Republic, I was raised in Spain, and I've been in the United States for over a decade. And being an immigrant child, a Black child, a Latinx person, a poor person, it was very clear seeing the differences in class and race. And I've experienced or witnessed xenophobia and anti-Blackness in every country I've lived in. And so it just feels like a personal responsibility to use my privilege to bridge some of these gaps.
Thank you for sharing that. It always moves me and gives me a little bit of a chill to hear people share how they came to this work.
I wanted to get into your trip that you took with the Race Forward team and the Color Lines team. You guys went to, I'll let you tell the story. You guys recently took a trip.
Yes.
Let us know where you took the trip and what happened on this trip.
Yeah, so in 2018, a team from Race Forward and Color Lines crossed the border into Mexico, into Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, to witness and experience what it's like for immigrants when they're deported, like what process they have to go through. And one of the meetings that we took while we were there, we met with DIF. DIF is the Child Welfare Services version, the Mexican Child Welfare Services version. And we spoke with them about some of the cases in which they've encountered family separation. And all of the cases that we spoke about began prior to the Trump administration. They actually began during the Obama administration because this is something that has been happening through different administrations.
Don't you think that's important to underscore for some of our listeners? in terms of this being not a new issue, but maybe a more visible one.
Right.
Yes, 100%. Thank you, Chevon. I think it's very important for people to understand that while what is happening in the at the border with immigrants that are seeking asylum definitely deserves our attention and our finances and for us to raise our voices, family separation has been happening at a large scale for many, many years all around the country. And it's extremely important that as the immigration narrative continues, we hold this as another fact that needs to be addressed and something be done about.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So you were talking about the Child Services Agency.
So the cases that we discussed with TIFF where all began prior to the Trump administration. And the one that stuck to my mind the most was one of a father who was deported 4 years ago. His wife died and their child was put into foster care. And so...
and the child was put in foster care in the U.S.
Correct. Right. In foster care in the U.S. And so for 4 years, the father has fought to try and regain his parental rights and get his child back. But it's been extremely difficult for him. And even though he has won, the foster care system as well as the foster father continue to intervene. So he hasn't been able to get his son.
Where is he fighting from?
From, I cannot recall the town in Mexico. He has to travel numerous hours to get to the border for visitations with his child.
So even though he's won, he still doesn't have full access to his son.
Correct. And so that's one of the things that we found in our initial report is that a number of DCS workers hold biases about whether the children should stay in the United States or go back to their countries of origin. Wow. And those biases intervene in the process of parents actually getting their children back.
That's traumatic.
Yes, extremely.
Very traumatic. And so I'm sure the kids that experiences have traumatic experiences as well. Were those a part of the conversations that you guys had while on the grounds in Mexico? Like, did you guys talk about like the mental health of a child who experiences these type of, separations or things of that nature?
Yes, so definitely. For example, the child that I was just speaking about, whenever he sees his father, he doesn't really want to play with him. He doesn't know how to relate to his father because it's been so many years of only seeing him for short visits every few months that the child no longer knows how to relate to his own father. But a number of studies have been done through the years about what family separation does for children. And children that have been separated from their parents due to detention or deportation often do end up with higher rates of depression, anxiety, PTSD, so on and so forth. It is extremely traumatic for the children.
This work that you're doing around the Shattered Families report, I can say that I see my entire time here at Race Forward, I see people using that report and all of the information that it illuminated for folks to kind of battle the system and also to educate others. I see it being used by academics on social media or by everyday folks who are just trying to widen and broaden the narrative around what are the issues with immigration and family separation and how long-standing they are. One of the threads I saw talked about how family separation is actually like a policy that helped build the country the way it is now, including starting with separating indigenous children, Native American children from their families, cut their hair, tell them they cannot speak their native language, and disappear them to schools where they actually had to learn a colonizer way of life.
Correct.
And even now, there are folks that share the ways that child services will get involved in Native families to kind of like exert those biases you were talking about and remove children, as well as I've seen threads where people are relating it to what happens to other families, like the Black family's decimation around what happens when Child and Family Services gets involved with your home situation. Is it always for your best interest? Or sometimes is it more about kind of like it ends up breaking things down and breaking apart families?
I think it's really important that we address that as a nation. It has been a building block of this nation that to separate children from their families from the very beginning. Like you said, Native children and how it affects Black children, and that it's the same. Like it's been found that the the effects of separation is actually similar for children of detained parents as children, Black and brown children of mass criminalization.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that the work you're doing has been already so vital for so many people to use. I wonder if you can tell us about the future of the project.
Yeah, so we're still working on collecting data, and that's going to keep going for a few months. And until we finish that section, we won't have anything to release. But definitely, to our listeners, please keep checking back in so that you can see the report once it's released. But something that listeners can do in the meantime is to definitely support organizations on the ground. There are numerous organizations that are doing work around family separation, whether it's right at the border or, like I said, more in the interior, like we've been doing. Organizations are that people can check out if they'd like to are Florence Immigrant and Refugee Rights Project, Raíces, Al Otro Lado. These are all great organizations that have been doing the work of reuniting families. And something else that people can do is definitely check out Color Lines. Color Lines has been putting out amazing content in regards to family separation and immigration issues.
Yep.
So definitely check those out. And like I said, keep checking back in with the work that we're doing here at Race Forward.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yirssi, and we actually want you to stick around because we actually have another guest from BAJI who we would love to have you join in on the conversation.
Wonderful. I'm excited.
Inclusion, dignity, equity, love, and unity are values that deeply shape social change work. Many institutions struggle to live out those values and policy in our organizations and in our culture. Diversity alone is not enough to end racism in our lifetime. Race Forward offers interactive trainings that help build an understanding of structural racism while in a supportive community of learners. You can chart a course of action that will bring racially just opportunities and outcomes for everyone. Organize for meaningful transformation. Register with Race Forward today to start building racial equity.
So we're back. We have Yirssi still in the room with us, but this time we have a special guest. Tsion Gurmu is with us from BAJI.
That's correct.
We are delighted to have you. We appreciate you for taking some time out your day and coming to join us to have this needed conversation. I wanted to open up the floor and just have you let us in on, one, what is it that you do? What is your title? What's your background? What gives you motivation to do this work?
Okay. I'd love to start by thanking you all for having this segment and inviting me to be part of it. I agree it's a much needed conversation that is not happening nearly as often as it should be. So thank you for making the space for this.
Yes.
My name is Tsion Gurmu. I am the legal manager for the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, which is the first nationwide immigrant rights organization that has brought together Black immigrants and African Americans to advocate for racial justice and immigrant rights throughout this country. I am based at BAJI's headquarters here in New York, and I engage in direct representation work as well as advocacy work surrounding the lived experiences of Black immigrants, both in the U.S. and Mexico. My background and what brought me to this work is that I came to the U.S. as an asylum seeker with my family members, and we are originally from Ethiopia. We left at a time when there was a lot of political upheaval in Ethiopia. My father was a political prisoner for many years. My family was targeted for various reasons, and we were forced to flee our home and came to the United States and began engaging with immigrant communities in this country in a lot of different ways. My parents were community organizers. I later became engaged in legal work. I went to law school. And so I'm doing this work in a legal capacity now with BAJI and a few other groups, but this has always been, sort of part of my narrative and my family's narrative.
Amazing. Chevon?
Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to admit right off the bat to being a BAJI tweet stalker on social media. So that's at BAJI, BAJITWEET. This organization, I'm not sure if we can underscore this. You said it's the first organization whose goal is to unite folks who are Black and from the U.S. with folks who are coming to the U.S., whether it's through asylum or other forms of landing here, around racial justice and their shared need for justice and survival.
That is correct. You said it perfectly.
I think that's so important. Like, the first. Can you tell us a little bit about how your work right now fits within the broader context of immigration as we see it in the U.S.? Because it's largely presented as a Latinx, Latin American issue, border issue.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So BAJI has been trying to expand the conversation about immigration in the United States to include a lot of folks that we don't often hear about. So Black immigrants is one group, queer immigrants is another group, trans folks, Afro-Latinx folks. Especially in this moment, there tends to be a focus on the Central American narrative, which is a very important one that cannot be underscored enough. But at the same time, we're trying to create space and opportunity for other folks who have very unique stories about what forced them to leave their home countries and seek refuge here in the United States. We want to lift up those stories and help folks understand what's happening across the globe, and that directly affects our lived experiences as folks residing or citizens here in the United States. I hope that answered your question.
Deeply so. I feel very moved by this conversation and actually by the entire episode that we're all participating in. So if I pause for a moment, that's what it is. I'm really digesting everyone's personal connection to this work. And honestly, I hate to get on my United Nations, but just the idea that Yirssi shared, you know, her story of how many countries she's lived in and still experienced xenophobia and anti-Blackness, it was a uniform thing. And then to hear what you're talking about, which would be uniting folks, because xenophobia can actually come from anyone, you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's really moving, and I would love to hear, were you part of a recent trip yourself? I know, Yirssi, we talked about your trip across the border to Mexico. Can you talk about that as well, Tsion?
Sure. BAJI has been engaged in work in Tijuana for some time, providing legal workshops and humanitarian aid when possible to the Black migrants that are seeking asylum there. Recently, we've observed that the border has been extended to southern Mexico. Folks are entering from Guatemala, coming into Mexico, thinking that they're going to go straight north to Tijuana, to the U.S.-Mexico border, and make their claim for asylum, and they're unable to do so. They're literally being stopped and held in cities like Tapachula and not allowed to move forward, not allowed to seek refuge in the United States, not allowed to seek safety that they've already traveled thousands of miles and for many months in order to do. And so we made a few trips now down to Tapachula to meet with Black migrants who are being forcibly held there and to talk to them about their claims for asylum and to seek avenues for relief for them. So we've met with Mexican attorneys that have helped us gain a better understanding of the Mexican immigration system, and we've also provided them with information about the U.S. immigration system and the larger sort of political issues at play between the U.S. government and the Mexican government, and why there's so much pressure on the Mexican government to hold migrants in Mexico and not allow them to seek refuge in the United States at this time. So there was a lot of information sharing that happened, which is so critical in order for us to be able to work together in this sort of transnational mission to understand migration patterns better and to support Black migrants and other Black migrants that are being affected by these larger systems that they don't fully understand. So beyond meeting with attorneys and other organizations that are doing this work, we met with Black migrants who have not only lifted up their own individual desires to seek asylum in the United States, but have begun politically organizing themselves in a way that's really quite incredible. These are folks that are fleeing persecution in their home countries, experience some of the some of the worst human rights abuses I've ever heard of during their migration journeys to Mexico, and then continue to experience human rights violations, discrimination, harassment, extortion in Mexico. And so they've organized themselves into an assembly, the African Migrant Assembly in Tapachula, which has put out a list of demands that BAJI has lifted up on our social media. And if you can do anything to lift up those demands as well, it would be greatly valued by this population and by all of us working to assist them. And so they would like folks to know what it is that they've experienced, both in their home countries and since leaving their home countries, and what it is that's stopping them from seeking asylum and refuge, which is their ultimate goal. So we're lifting up those political messages, and then finally we're providing legal support. We're telling folks about avenues for relief, how they can travel up north, and then providing them with legal workshops once they do get to Tijuana so that they can successfully pass their credible fear interviews and then have representation in their substantive asylum cases. So I know that was a lot.
A lot, but much needed. I don't think many folks know that these are programs or situations that are happening on the ground. So any type of enlightenment is best. So thank you.
Of course.
Yirssi, would you want to chime in?
Yeah, I'm really interested in hearing about some of your experiences when you went to Mexico and what you encountered, the African migrants and the Haitian migrants, what they're experiencing on the ground, as well as any stories or any information you may have about why the influx of migrants through the South has become a lot blacker.
Mm-hmm. So we met with lots of people that had a lot of very different experiences in terms of why they left their home countries and the different abuses that they've experienced along their journey to safety. I think one common thread throughout is that folks feel as if they're being punished for trying to seek refuge and trying to find a safe place to lay their head down. Oftentimes when folks enter into Mexico and state that they are trying to seek asylum in the United States, they will then be held in detention in Mexico, and that is where a lot of African migrants are currently protesting, is for their brothers and sisters to be let out of these detention centers. After being held in detention where they are not receiving adequate medical care, food, really any of the basic necessities that one would need in order to survive, they find themselves still without a home and without a way up north to Tijuana or to the U.S.-Mexico border. And so from there, you see that many Black migrants in Tapachula just are living right outside of the detention center once they're released from there. We're sleeping on the floor before. There's been very little progress, and now folks are in tents. And so they've sort of set up almost a refugee camp right outside of the detention center. From there, they're really just seeking any support that they can get. There are very few attorneys or even humanitarian aid groups that will go there to give people information or a meal. And so that's just now beginning to happen as well. BAJI has been trying to go to Tapachula consistently since our executive director first went a few months back. And now there are a few churches that have started providing breakfast for the Black migrants that are literally stranded there. One narrative that sticks out most in my mind is that of a young man who is 17 years old, so he's an unaccompanied minor, and he traveled to Mexico with his sister and his father from their home country in West Africa. And when traveling through Panama by foot through a swampy area, he actually lost his father. His father passed during that journey. He was unable to make it successfully. And he arrived in Tapachula with his sister, and his sister just could not take the harsh conditions of living outside of the detention center. And, you know, the climate in Tapachula is really extreme. So it's super hot, and then it's raining really heavily throughout the rest of the day. And so she became ill and is currently residing with someone else, another person who was just took pity on them and allowed her to remain in their home so that she would not become more ill. And so this young man is literally on his own at this point, sleeping outside of this detention center without any idea of like how they're going to move forward. I mean, they left their home as a family unit and had a very clear targeted goal, which is to seek safety in the United States, because they see this as being a place of refuge for migrants from anywhere, really. And that has not been possible for them. And so it's really heartbreaking to hear narratives from folks like himself, where he's just the brightest young man. He speaks 7 different languages. So every time I go down, he's really like, you know, the person that's doing a bulk of the work for me, because I don't know all of the languages that folks speak on the ground. But he's so bright and he's so determined and he's such a strong-willed person, and he's an inspiration. And it's heartbreaking for attorneys and other folks like myself who are going there to assist them, but even we don't have the answers, right? Mm-hmm. We're advocating, we're lifting up messages, we're talking about these issues in as many different places as we can, like today, but we don't have the answers. And so that's really tough.
I think it really speaks to their strength that they've survived so much and then got to Tapachula and were able to actually organize or assist with translation or do any of these services. You said that they would like the immigrants in the area would like some of their some of the work that they're doing to be lifted up. Could you tell us a little bit of some of that work?
Yes. So there was a press conference that the African Assembly there in Tapachula held at a human rights organization known as Fray Mateus that has really been a great resource for folks who have no idea, you know, what sort of immigration system they've landed in Mexico and really can't even read the documents that are being given to them. So that human rights group has been helpful in sort of creating a space for them to create demands, make those demands known to the Mexican government, and now BAJI is trying to assist in projecting that message, you know, beyond Mexico and beyond the U.S., quite frankly, to as many different places as possible. So those demands can be found on BAJI's Instagram page, InstaBAJI, and we're also lifting up their messages on our Twitter, and shouted out our Twitter at the very beginning. We're continuing to go back and create more advocacy documents as the group continues to organize and grow larger, unfortunately, and we'll continue to lift up those messages for as long as they ask us to. There are also videos that have been shared on BAJI's social media, as well as a few other social media accounts that are tapped into the narratives of Black migrants in southern Mexico.
So I was thinking about how much of a lift all of this work is, and I was marveling at it as Yirssi was asking all of those really detailed questions. I see in your bio that you were also selected as a 2018 Forbes 30 Under 30 Law Policy honoree, as well as OK Africa's 2019 Top 100 Woman honoree, and the NYU School of Law, their 2019 Outlaw Alumna of the Year. That is a lot.
Major.
First, can we just snap it up for
Major
accomplishments and awards?
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate
The black girl magic right here.
Yes.
Right? Can you tell me what is it that keeps you going? I know it's not these awards. I know it's not this recognition, but this definitely can't hurt it. Can you tell us a little bit? You're carrying so much.
What keeps me going? Is that the question? Wow.
What keeps you inspired and motivated?
Yeah, definitely all of my colleagues at BAJI keep me inspired and motivated to continue engaging in this work. Many of us are Black immigrants who have directly experienced the things that our clients in the communities that we serve are currently experiencing. So beyond the professional desire to, you know, do well in our respective roles, it's very deeply personal work. And it is quite a shame time to see systems like the asylum system here in the United States, which has greatly benefited, myself, my family, and many people that I'm very close to, be attacked in the ways that it has been by this administration. And so I think that is also a source of inspiration, oddly, is that this is a system that I hold, close to me. It's the reason that I've been able to have a fantastic education in the United States and have been offered the opportunities that I have had access to. And to see young men, like the young man that I mentioned, who's currently in Tapachula, brilliant, wonderful human being who I can only imagine what all he would accomplish if given the opportunity to come here and seek safety like I did and like my family members did. I can't just accept that, folks are being denied that right. And it is both a right that is enshrined in domestic law and international law. And so I think those that have benefited from these systems will not allow the door to just close behind us. And so we're insistent on, keeping it open by any means necessary. So.
That was amazing.
I heard people snapping.
You can hear me snapping in the background the whole time. That was incredible.
Amazing.
Yes, I feel so moved. And honestly, you're inspiring me. My work is different, right? As a marketing and communications professional, my work is different. But you describing all the ways in which you continue and don't give up, and the way it's deeply personal for you to continue this work so that the door doesn't shut on others, and that you're leveraging your talents, which we just enumerated, a bunch of the awards that are recognizing those talents. I feel like this can actually be a really inspirational episode for anyone who is in any facet of racial justice work, because you're trying to go global with this, like you said. You want us to amplify, right?
Yes.
The list of demands. And I heard you say that you want us to make it go as broad as we can. So, can we get everyone on board with that?
I think we can. I think that's more than possible.
All right.
And I think what you said about the communications piece, legal piece, all of us work together. And when working in silos, nothing gets done. So I'm beyond excited to work with you all to amplify these messages and just help folks understand what's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing. So we've come to the end of the episode.
I really enjoyed this one.
I did too.
I'm acting like there's a million to compare it to. I enjoyed all of the episodes.
Listen, we've had a couple of test runs. All right. We can compare it to those too.
100.
Few announcements. Keeping in line with just and humane policies, the National Immigrant Integration Conference is taking place on October 20th to the 22nd in Detroit. If you are interested and would like to attend this conference, please visit NICNewAmericanDreams.org to register.
Oh, isn't our VP of Movement and Capacity Building on that steering committee?
Yes, ma'am. Vina K. She's the Vice President of Movement of Capacity. She will be in attendance. If you'd like to go show our colleagues some love, please do so.
So we always close off asking folks to please follow us on all of our social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Race Forward. And you can check out the Race Forward website at raceforward.org. Some of the reports, there's a section for all of our reports where you can go look at some of the work that we spoke about today, some of which will be ongoing work that Yirssi spoke about. So we'll have some of the info that was discussed today in the notes. Please check that out. And yes, if you would please subscribe to our podcast. Where can you get it? Let's list some of the places where you can get it. Let's be specific. So you can get it on Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
Google Play.
You
can also listen on our website, right? So
yes, there's a direct link on our website.
Go straight to the homepage.
Yes, that will locate them and direct them to the podcast so they can listen upon us.
So yes, please listen. You can also subscribe, and then you can rate us. So
please rate us
5 stars. If you don't want to give us 5 stars, remember,
are we entertained?
Tweet Hiba. Hiba's the person to send complaints to.
Man, listen, I don't even have a Twitter account, so you need to tweet Chevon. Okay, you can Instagram me.
I wasn't going to tell them that.
But you can Instagram me, but tweet Chevon if you have any comments or concerns about what it is that we share here on this platform.
Well, thank you, Hiba, and thank you, Yirssi.
Thank you, Chevon. Thank you, Yirssi.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course.
Bye,
and that's it. It's a wrap.
keep the momentum moving toward racial justice.
I love it when you are in sync.
Okay.